Now it's time for the Voice for the Industry podcast.
Hey, Chris. So, I met Gerwin. He was my MPMA Academy team a couple months back. We didn't win. Everybody else cheated. No, we didn't win, but it was just a great experience and getting to know him. He's just a wonderful, fascinating young man. But the really good part about this episode is that, we always hear about how hard it is to find good people to work in the industry and that, what can they do to get better people? Well, here's a perfect example of a young person that came into the industry and is thriving. He's now a service manager for a national company. And so it's really good insight, I think, for people looking to hire technicians and other employees, the kind of the mindset and maybe, what the younger people are looking for out of a job and a career.
Yeah, he's somebody who really loves what he does, and hearing his advice for young adults who are considering the industry, it was a really powerful conversation.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Voice for the Industry podcast. I almost forgot the name of my own podcast. We are so happy to have Gerwin Marca here today. Hey, Gerwin, how are you?
Hey, Mr. Raymond, how's everything?
Everything's fine. Gerwin and I actually met and we were on the same MPMA Academy team
Team
a few months
Yellow.
back. Team Yellow. We were really close to winning. We came in fourth,
Yes,
I think,
sir.
out of 6.
As
So
long as
close.
it's not sick.
But as long as it's not sick. We didn't come in last, but we had a great time.
We did.
And, we were talking, and Gerwin's got an interesting story to tell about the industry and about his life in general. So we're really happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here, Mr. Raymond. I'm very excited. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So I'm going to read your bio, and then we'll get in and start talking about
All
some
right.
stuff. So, okay, here we go. Gerwin Marca was born and raised in the Philippines and permanently moved to the U.S. by the age of 14. By the age of 18, he became an LPN and worked as a private nurse for 5 years, as well as owning his own staffing agency. That's pretty impressive at such a young age. He also served in the Marine Corps for 8 years and also had various jobs in between time service, working sales, insurance, edible arrangements, and fast food. So, and those are two contrary, right? Edible arrangements and fast food. I don't think there's any fast food edible arrangement places. That'd be kind of neat with the drive-through.
It would be it would be
Yeah,
awesome, but hard,
it
difficult.
would be. It'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Just like many other people, Gerwin stumbled across the pest control industry by chance and worked as a commercial tech with some residential pest control with Viking in New Jersey North for 5 years before getting promoted to service manager and moving to the Pennsylvania Northeast branch. Well, congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it's a well-earned promotion.
Thank you, sir.
And then this has been the one industry that Gerwin has truly enjoyed what he does and can definitely see himself doing it for a very long time. Well, again, welcome, sir. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So you've had a pretty diverse background for a man of such a youthful
Yes,
experience.
sir.
You haven't been around a whole long time, but you've done a lot of stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
You've done nursing, you owned a staffing agency. I mean, you've just Marines, you've done a lot of things, right? So how have those experiences shaped the way you approach your job today? And also kind of how did you get into the pest control industry and kind of what got you from all that into the pest control industry? And then, how did you bring all those experiences to bear in the pest control industry?
Well, thank you for that question. So, I would say I learned a little bit of everything from each of those jobs, right? From nursing, one of the things that I did a lot was obviously attention to detail. Really thinking about what you're doing and then how to apply it, because obviously you're handling someone's life, so you got to make the right decisions all the time. At the same time, one of the things that I did learn from the nursing industry is like just the ability to help and solve problems. So that was probably my biggest takeaway from that. As far as the staffing agency is concerned, that's where I learned a lot of my leadership skills as well. Just because obviously I have people beneath me or under me that are, my workers, my employees. So I got to make sure that their needs are being met at the same time my clients' needs are being met. So having that experience also kind of taught me on how to fulfill my role as right now as a manager. And then obviously the Marine Corps That's like my bread and butter. I love the Marines. That's where I really learned how to be like attention to detail, like focus, problem solve, really lead a group of people in a way where in like, not as a boss, but just to lead, a very diverse group and grow from there. So with the Marines itself, it's been I would say most of the things that I learned from the Marine Corps is actually what uh, I use to approach, or what I use as an approach to how I work today is like, I like things in a certain way. I make sure that my guys are on top of their game. And at the same time, like I said, attention to detail, being very focused. Um, those are the things that I would say I have learned from all of these experiences that helped me what I am today and what how I became today, which is as a service manager. Um, but yeah, no, those it's a lot. I would definitely say I've learned a lot from all of my different job experiences, from from making fruit baskets to working in fast food. There's a little bit of everything that I learned from them, but definitely all of those tiny experiences is what made me what I am today.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, it's hard to be a sloppy, disorganized Marine, isn't it? They don't really
Yes,
let you
sir.
be too disorganized. Yeah, so I probably could have used a little Marine learning, make me a little more organized. But no, that's fantastic. Yeah, I actually lived in the Philippines on a Navy base when I was a teenager,
Yes,
so
sir.
I grew up around the military, and I actually lived in the Philippines. So
That's
it's very
awesome.
interesting. I can still count. Let's see, Isao, Dalawong, Tatlo, Ipat. I can't. I used to be able to go to 10. Sao Dalawong, Tatlo, Ipat. I used to be able to count to 10. Now I
Lima.
can get to 3, I think. Lima, that's it. Sao Dalawong, Tatlo, Lima. I can't
You
remember.
got
Too
up to
big is
5.
water,
That's still
right?
better. That's still good.
I got up to 5. I'll
You got
take
up
it.
to 5.
Yeah, it's been been over 40 years, so I'll take 5. Yeah. All right, here we go. All right, enough about me, right? So, how did you get into? So, what got you into the pest control industry? You had these jobs, you were doing these things, you had all these experiences. What happened, and how did you end up here?
So, great question as well. So like I said, I came into the industry by chance. There was a time, I would say about 5 years ago. It was around December 2019. Yeah, December 2019 is when I actually applied. So I did a mass application. I'm the type of person that loves to learn. So I was just looking at jobs that, that piqued my interest. And when I applied for this job, I actually forgot that I applied, crazily enough. So when I did my mass applications, all of a sudden, I would say a few weeks later, someone from the HR department from Viking Pest Control contacted me. It's like, hey, we saw your resume. We were very impressed. We want to, come in. We want you to come in for an interview. So I was like, you know what? I'm always willing to learn new things. So I said, let's go ahead, schedule that interview. So I came in. This was back in New Jersey. I used to live in Bergen County. So we had an office there in Wayne. So I came in, did an interview, did an in person interview. And from that experience itself, I was very, kind of like most people, they don't really think about pest control a lot. So it's not something that you have in the back of your mind. So when I first learned about pest control, and then I see what Viking was doing, that kind of piqued my interest, to see how certain things worked. And then one of the biggest things that they do is we do ride-alongs, like an initial ride-along. So I spent about like, I would say 3 hours with a technician just observing them. And from there, that's where I was like, all right, this is an industry that's very interesting. You have a little bit of everything. You get to kill bugs, use some chemicals, and then you also have that customer interaction. So it really piqued my interest. And yeah, after that ride along, I came back to that office. They asked me how it went. I said it went wonderful. It went great. I'm very interested. And then that's when it all started.
What time of year? Do you remember what time of year the ride along was?
So it was
What was
during
it?
actually
Fall, summer?
this was during winter. This was during slow season. So uh I did my
Okay.
ride along in January. I would say like first 2 weeks of January. The guy that I did a ride along with was also a Marine. So From there,
Ah,
they were very smart. They were very smart with me because since they know
yes.
that but the managers back then, they were very smart. So they got me on a ride along with him. So he was a Marine. We kind of, Marine to Marine, obviously we already made that
Bonded.
connection. Yeah, we already had that bond. So it was just a fun time. And there were so many times when he did mainly commercial work. That's why when I entered in, I was actually mostly trained by him, the guy that did the ride along with me. So from what he was doing, I was very intrigued, and I was just very, very, I from that moment, I actually already wanted to kind of start doing the job, but I'm not allowed to yet because liability, and I'm not technically employed by him
Right.
yet. So, but yeah, from that, it was slow season, so we did mostly commercial places, but even then, I was just very intrigued on what they were seeing, what he was doing, going up into attics and then going up to different businesses, talking to people. So that's definitely one thing that really intrigued me about the job.
Yeah, and I think ride-alongs are great. The reason I asked you what time of year it was is because where I used to work, but I'm in Florida, and it
Uh-huh.
gets really hot in the summer, right? And we would do ride-alongs, especially with the lawn technicians. And a lot of times, like I can remember more than once they would uh, they would stop for lunch, and the ride along person would just like leave. Like, it's too hot. I'm not doing it. It's too much work. Wouldn't even make it through the whole day. So, which is better than hiring them,
Mhm.
doing all the time training them and everything else, which is what happens a lot, right? You spend a month training somebody, and then the first, they go out on their own and they quit. So,
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
ride-alongs are a good idea. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Anytime you get more than two pest control managers together for more than 30 seconds, they're going to talk about how hard it is to hire people,
Mhm.
how tough it is to find young people, how to motivate manage new younger generation employees, stuff like that. So, as somebody who basically represents that, you were out of the industry, you came in as a technician, you now moved up. What are some of the things that pest control companies, lawn care companies can do to be more attractive to the new generation of workers? Right, you're a
Mhm.
little older, you're not quite a Gen Zer,
Not
I
quite a
don't
Gen
think,
Zer.
but not quite, right? But what are some of the things that you've seen, like maybe what Viking or what your company has done or other companies have done that can attract the younger generation, and also maybe ways to keep them more engaged and keep them happy as employees?
Mhm. So one of the biggest things for me personally was the amount of knowledge you can get from this industry. I think that was my biggest attractant to the pest control industry was since I love learning, and actually a lot of younger generations nowadays they love learning new things. Um, this is the one industry where it's continuously evolving. There's no same, there's no same routine. There's no same answers to, questions. It's always something new, something different. And till this day, 5 years later, I'm still learning something new every day. So that's how I like, especially now I'm getting a lot of new hires that are, very young. They're in their 20s. So one of the things that they look for is obviously something fresh, something new. And I always tell them like this is a great industry to get into because one, uh, not only are you kind of learning from different things, you're learning about pests, you're learning about your we're a little bit of everything. You learn about structures, you learn about selling, you learn about communications. So I think one of the biggest things that can make you attractive is that this is an industry that where you can easily learn and grow as long as you put in the time. I know it's not something that a lot of people think about, but if you put in the time, um, and if you are willing to be open and willing to learn, this is one industry that I personally say most people will enjoy. you know so I think that
Yeah.
would be something that people should consider is that this is an ever evolving industry. There's so many different opportunities. There's so many different paths you can take. It's not just pest control. There's always like there's CSC, there's CLC, there's sales. So there's more avenues to it. And like I said, it's always evolving and there's always something new to learn every day.
No, that's good insight. I mean, you have a job where you most of the time, if you're a technician, at least you don't have anybody breathing over your shoulder. You're kind of your
Mm-hmm.
own boss to a certain extent. So you have a lot of freedom and flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. It's an interesting job. It's, even though you may go do 12 quarterly pest services in one day, they're all different, right?
They're
There's
all
going to be a
different.
little different variances here and there. So that's a great insight. Thanks for sharing that. So you start out as a technician. You now became you're a service manager.
Mhm.
That's what usually in this industry, right? That's how it happens. Now, I had a podcast with somebody else, and we were talking about how a lot of times technicians just get promoted,
Mhm.
whether they're really going to be a good manager or not, right? And there's maybe not necessarily the best training and things like that.
Mhm.
So, what did you do as a technician to prepare? What are some of the things you would recommend technicians do, I should say, to prepare themselves to be more aligned? If that's if that's the way they want to go, if they look at management, say, oh, I'd love to be a service manager, a branch manager one day.
Mhm.
What are some of the things technicians can do to kind of get themselves lined up and learn and move and make that transition so they'll be a better manager?
Well, one of the things that I would definitely say is that one of the things that I did personally was I got more involved. So being more involved, not just in your line of work, but also with your technicians. So for me, in order to become a service manager, besides licenses, obviously that's very important. Getting your license is a very, very important thing. But besides getting license, obviously I got more involved with technicians. So I was one of the people that did the ride-alongs. I was one of the trainers as well. So I trained new hires. I was I joined the different committees that we have, whether it's the safety committee. You know, we have this thing called the A team, wherein they were responsible for certain events. So I tried to put myself in different positions as much as I can, and really, you know, since I see myself doing this for a very long time and I see this as an actual career, if this is something that people or technicians want to do for a long time and want to actually get involved and move up, I think being more involved, being more present, and then just allowing yourself to have each and every opportunity and take them, that is what's going to help you to become a very good manager, very good leader, being someone that is approachable, someone to talk to. Because one thing from my personal experience, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mr. Dave Brown. Um, so Dave Brown, when I first joined, he was one of my senior technicians, and from his experience,
I
or from learning from his experience, that's kind of where I wanted to be, is that I wanted to follow his footsteps, because he was the person that every technician went to for questions or for anything like that. So his example kind of made me what I am today. And by following his footsteps, that's what I want to also give to my technicians, is that as long
okay.
as you're someone who is approachable, and as long as you're open to, the possibilities and the different opportunities, and you take them, then you will make it as a service manager or more.
Right, right. And I know a Dave Brown, but it's not the same Dave Brown. That's why it threw me when you said Dave Brown. Like, wait a minute, but it's
There's a
not
lot of
the
Dave
same one.
Browns.
Well, a lot of Dave Brown. So what you did though sounds like the one thing they tell you to never do as a Marine. You volunteered, right? You said, "I'll
Yeah,
do it.
that's
I'll go
true.
and I'll be on this committee. And I'll do it." Right. So you put yourself. So basically, what you did to kind of prepare is you learned more. You volunteered to do things. You tried to be a resource, right, for other technicians.
Mhm.
So, you put yourself out there and tried to learn as much and that's how you gain that knowledge, right? You gained the understanding. You kind of had a mentor, Dave Brown, not my Dave Brown. And you were able to follow along. So that's fantastic. That's awesome. Um, so okay, so you came as a tech, been around 5 years. Like it sounds like you started right about the time COVID hit. Sounds about
It
right.
did. Yes, it did
So
start right away.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What advice would you give somebody just starting out? Um, and we talked about like being management, but just in general, somebody's just starting out in the industry. What are some of the, what are some of the key factors they should look for from an employer? What may not we always talk about benefits and stuff,
Mhm.
but what are some of the things that you really enjoyed about your opportunity when you first started? What are some of the things prospective people new in the industry coming in? What are some of the things they can look for?
Well, some of the things that they could definitely look for is, obviously, if you're coming into this industry, one thing that you always have to be is, like I said, keep an open mind. It is a very vast industry. There's a lot of things to learn. There's always new things to learn. So as long as you keep an open mind, that will definitely pique your interest. Obviously, one of the things that you definitely want to look for is like whether you have good leadership. Wow, that was hard to say, but good leadership's
That's
all
okay.
place. Management, you got to look at your management team, you got to look at your the other employees as well, see how they're evolving in the industry. So a lot of the times it's, certain things, not necessarily just like the benefits. One thing, like I said, my main thing for looking is how much learning and how much upward mobility can I get from this industry. And like I said, by being in this industry for just 5 years, I can already say there's a lot of upward mobility. There's a lot of different avenues to approach. And as long as you keep an open mind, as long as you're willing to really put yourself out there, then things will happen. People will recognize, and you will find the correct path for you in this industry.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's very good advice. Good point. And you're right. It's one of the few industries where you can come in at the bottom, quote unquote, and end up, being the president of a giant company. And there's a lot of people in this industry that started as a technician
hmm
and now they're a manager, general manager, president,
My perfect
executives. It's
example is Mr. Jim McIntyre, our current president for
okay.
Viking Pest Control. He started out as a technician, worked his way up to become a branch manager, service manager, and now he's the president of the company. So he's also one of my biggest role models. So
There you
I would
go.
definitely say
Yeah. And Viking, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, that was it.
Viking's not a small company.
It's not.
Viking, not a small company. That's a big company to run.
Yes,
So that's
sir.
fantastic. Um, so you've been around 5 years. AI, the big AI broke a couple of
hmm
years ago. What have you seen, or what are you seeing, or what do you think's going to happen? How is the industry going to evolve? What are some of the things you may have already seen as a result of the technology that's changing things? Are there differences, do you think, coming down the road based on the new technology? What do you think about all that?
Definitely. I mean, when I first started, I remember we were still using, when I was creating my proposals, it was still paper proposals. And some places it was like the paper service reports. It wasn't even like handled stuff, and you can't print it off. Obviously, from that point, it's already evolved to everything is all about technology. I create proposals through my phone. I create my service reports. So you know, it's definitely evolved in the more modern way. Now you have AI that helps with scheduling. We have Veronica for us, wherein she's our kind of like our automated dial phone call, and she can create schedules. I know a lot of other companies are using AI to kind of tailor different training exercises. So it's definitely evolving more, and kind of like the topic from MPA Academy, AI is playing a big part now, and it definitely has evolved the industry in so many levels. Wherein like it's easier for technicians to learn, it's easier for companies to kind of um uh I would say lessen the resources that they use and really focus on like just growing the company with the tools of AI. So I think it's evolving. It's evolving in the right direction. There's a lot of new things coming out, and like I said, people are utilizing, and different companies are utilizing AI nowadays. So it's only a matter of time before we see more and more improvements.
Do you Now, and I've talked to other people about this. So, like,
Mhm.
do you see a day potentially where a technician gets in a vehicle that drives itself? It's routed by AI, right? All
Oh
the drive,
god.
right? So there's no going 5 miles out of your way to see the cute clerk at the store you
hmm
get your lunch from, right? And then so the technician basically is just in the vehicle, gets out, or maybe even a day where there's a little drone that flits around the outside of the house, spraying and doing stuff like that. Do you see that level of evolution down the road, maybe?
Uh, Potentially, the drone thing is actually very accurate already. I remember we had an employee that was thinking about doing crop dusting with drones. So that is a very very good one. I think eventually that could be a potential way to kind of treat like big massive lands is instead of using
Really
technicians.
high?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you want to
yeah.
use drones. That is a potential one. I don't think as far as like self-driving trucks, I would still prefer
No?
us to drive, but definitely somewhere down the line, I think having technology, to treat bigger areas would be actually very helpful. And I don't see I don't see a reason why it can't be done. I think it can be done in the next few years.
Yeah. I've seen videos of like drones, like they have like wasp nests or something way at
Hmm.
40 feet up in the air, whatever, and it flies up there and zaps them and stuff like that. So that's it's yeah, I know they're doing crop with agriculture. There's a lot of it.
Hmm.
It's going to be an interesting transition,
It
that's for
is.
sure. Um, uh, so, all right, well, this has been great. So, we always say guest topic. Is there anything you would like to talk about? Anything you want to share, or any passion, or anything at all that that you feel like you want to discuss?
Oh no, I mean, I actually, I wanted to talk to you about MPMA Academy since that's where we met. How many times have you been to MPMA Academy, and how much has it evolved since you started going?
No, no, wait a minute. I'm the host. I don't answer questions. No, kidding. I'm kidding. No. So I've, I've been to Academy 3 times.
Mhm.
The most recent one, of course, when you and I were there a few months ago, but it was like a 10-year gap. So I went to the Academy about 10 years. I went 2 years in a row, and then I didn't go for 8 or 9 years. And then I went again. So what I found is interesting is, even though there was a big gap, and for those of, just to be clear, there might be people out there who don't know what we're talking about, Gerwin. So the MPMA Academy, National Pest Management Association Academy, is a very unique conference, and they bring together what was like 250 people, I
Mhm.
think. It's all about team building. There's 6 or 7 different colored teams. There's orange, blue. You get about 15, 20 people on a team, and you just do these different competitions. They have like Olympic competitions, physical things. There was food tasting, and you do all these different things throughout the 2 or 3 days, and you get points, and the team wins. So it's all about working together as a team. They have speakers. So you spend a tremendous amount of time with your teammates. Hold on, I got a podcast showed up. A podcast. Um, this is Jinxie
Hi,
podcast.
Dixie.
Anyway, hey, anyway, so you end up developing these very close ties, and I'm still pretty good friends with quite a few people that were on my teams from 10 years ago. Uh, and what's cool about it is, when you go to the academy, which I recommend, then as you go to these other industry events, different conferences, different shows, or whatever, then you end up running into the people,
Mhm.
right, so you get to see these people over and over. So it's actually pretty cool. But anyway, that's what academy is. So what I what I what I found was, it was different, because when I did it before, like, you would people would show up, and they'd have stuff for you to wear, whatever. You have shirt. Well, now everybody goes on Amazon and buys all this stuff. And as you know, we had people wearing suits, and so everybody
Mhm.
comes all pre-equipped. And then the other difference is, they didn't have these chat group apps 10 years
Uh-huh.
ago.
Right.
So so our team, I mean, I'm sure others too, we were like picking all the activities and doing all this stuff like a week before, because we had
Mhm.
this chat group going. So the technology, and it was a little bit of a different experience because of that. But the core experience of the camaraderie and the team building and the competition is still very much there, and it's a great experience. And I recommend everybody should go to it. I think it's great.
I agree. I even tell that's one thing I told when I came back is that this experience, the NPMA Academy experience alone, is like, if you're not already bought into the industry, that will make you like buy in even more. Just the amount of knowledge, the amount of people that you meet, the amount of experiences that you gain, and like the camaraderie. It's a whole nother level, more than just attending conferences just to learn or just to hear people speak. MPMA Academy for me was like such a big learning experience and big learning curve. And like I said, the amount of connections you make, and at the same time, you're having fun doing it. So I think a lot of
Right.
people will definitely benefit. Hopefully, whoever listens to this, hopefully you guys can get the chance to also attend NPMA Academy next year. And next year, I think it's going to be in Orlando, I believe. So
Yes, yes. Well, which is a 3-hour drive for me. I always say the 9 or 10 people that are listening to this will probably get a lot out of it, right? So, uh, but no, it is so. The funny thing is, what when I went to Academy, I actually went back to, I used to work at McCall, and we would have an annual meeting, and the owners were gracious enough to let me run our annual meeting at like the academy. We had teams and we did competitions. And the first year we did a lip sync contest, and it was awesome. It was really good. So I recommend going and using the team building concept. It's great. And a lot of people get a lot out of it. Sorry.
I agree.
Well, all right. Well, this has been fantastic. This has been great conversation. I think you bring a lot of insight.
Thank you.
From the younger generation and the younger management, because the industry needs the younger people, right? I mean, we need the people like you that are stepping in now, who will be that manager, that president, 10 years from now. So thank you, but thank you so much. Now we're gonna have a little fun.
Oh, perfect.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, we got a couple wacky questions. I think I'm gonna bring in our Carissa. Come on back, Carissa. There she is.
Hello.
Okay, so here we go. So what we do here, we do fun stuff. Sometimes we play games. Sometimes we just answer funny questions.
Okay.
And typically, since I know what the question is, I'll ask it, and then I'll answer first to give you guys time to think of an answer.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the first question. It's a little bit of an odd one. On any given day, assuming they're calm, how many pigeons could you carry? How many pigeons could you carry? So pigeons about that big. So I'm thinking, if I lay them flat and I stack them, would it be better to stack them flat or up? I think flat. I think I could probably get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I could probably get about 20 pigeons.
20?
I think, because if you start low, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 15, 20. What do you think, Gerwin? I have small hands though, so maybe 18.
I'm also thinking about the stacking method, and I'm like,
that's right. See?
My base would probably be around, like the baseline itself would probably be around 15. So I would like to say I could probably carry about 25, 30 if they're calm.
Wow.
I think
if they're calm.
If they're calm.
Well, the stacking is important, because then I was thinking, if you put one head down and one foot up, they'll, like when you put bacon in a pan, and if you put them sideways, so they match, you can get more, right? Carissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I think
I was thinking like 16, maybe. I don't know.
You're not thinking of stacking properly. It's all about the stacking.
I'm not
right?
It's about the stacking. It's about the stacking. It's the pyramid method.
Okay. It's very important. Now I'm gonna have to go get a bunch of fake pigeons and try to stack them. Another one. So would you rather have, now think about this one, bionic arms or bionic legs?
I'm gonna
think about that one too.
I already know my answer.
You answer first then.
I would say bionic legs. And biggest reason, one, you could travel further. You could run without being super, super tired. And you can reach heights that is normally unreachable to a regular human. So I think bionic legs would benefit me more than bionic arms. I'd be afraid for a bionic arm.
That was a very quick answer.
Yeah.
You had that answer.
Yeah.
That was a bionic answer. It was so fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you thought about this before.
I know.
I
don't think that was a surprise question. You have. Okay.
Because I'd rather have the stronger legs than the stronger arm. I think it would scare me if I have a strong arm.
Yeah. Well, the thing about bionic, you gotta be careful though. You go to pick up a Red Bull, you squeeze it and blow it all up. So, Carissa, what do you think?
I was thinking arms, but now I think legs. I agree with Gerwin.
Yeah, you convinced me. I think you're right. I mean, the thing is, like, if you remember the old bionic man, I mean, he could run like 60 miles an hour, and he could jump, and like you're talking about. And the thing is, whatever you can do with your bionic arm, you could almost do with your bionic leg. Right? Like if you want to throw something, you can just kick it with your bionic leg, and it's going to go really far. Yeah. So you that was a good answer. You convinced both of them, because I was kind of thinking arms too. So you pre-thought it. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we're at the end of the episode today, Gerwin. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great. I'm that's the easy part. And we'll get this baby out there in the world. The 9 or 10 people can listen to it.
Awesome.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you around at the next conference.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the next conference. Like I said, MPMA Academy 2026 in Orlando. So I'm excited to be there.
In Orlando, there you go. Be there or be square.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
See you next time.